School is back in session. As we enter Mrs. Gaynor's classroom, Maya discovers a social media rumor about her has gone viral.
Why are they saying such mean things about me online?
Maya, what's wrong? Is everything okay?
I'm being cyberbullied, Mrs. Gaynor.
Oh no, it looks like your phone has been hacked into and it's going viral.
This is embarrassing. I just want to go home.
Hold on 1 second, Maya. I'm calling Major Payne.
Hello, Mrs. Gaynor. How are you doing? What? Hacked. Sergeant, be safe. Get to the school and figure this out.
10-4, Major. Cyberbullying won't happen on my watch. We need to track the culprit down. Come on, Captain Chaos.
Let's go.
Sergeant Be Safe is here.
Hello, officers.
Hello. Let me see your phone, Maya. Oh, this is no good, Captain Chaos. There's only one social media mastermind that I can think of that's behind this.
That's right. It has to be Chance Wilder. But how do we catch him?
Sergeant, be safe. Get the phone. Bring it back. Put it in evidence. Then we'll put it on the Bright Cell machine and get digital evidence.
With this new app everyone is signing up for, I'll be able to make them do destructive challenges. And once they're in trouble, they'll be under my control.
Sergeant Be Safe and his team use the Bright Cell machine and discover it has Chance Wilder's digital fingerprints all over it.
I'm set up, ready to breach the door. Get ready. 3, 2.
Okay, class, it's time for lunch. Maya, hold your head up. Things will be okay.
This is the worst day of my life.
Don't sit at this table, Maya. Those things I saw in the app, it must be true.
Yeah, and to think, we thought you were nice and respectful.
Why did the math book look so sad? Because it had too many problems. Like you. Go away.
To be continued.
And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Awfully quiet tonight.
No, you didn't. You just did not do that.
We're seeing far too many accidents here.
Welcome to Black and Blue, the podcast that brings you the untold stories behind the badge. Every week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we dive deep into the lives of our unsung heroes, the first responders and law enforcement officers who put their lives on the line to protect us all. So join us as we humanize the badge. We shed light on the incredible individuals who wear it proudly. From rookies just starting out on their journey to seasoned vets with years of experience, even retirees who continue to make a difference in their communities. Come with us and discover the trainings that mold us. The unforgettable experiences that make us. And the publications that inspire us to push forward. So buckle up and get ready to embark on a thrilling journey through the lives of those who protect and serve. This is the Heartbeat, Black and Blue. Black and Blue, where the stories behind the badge are true.
Good evening, Black and Blue crew, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Thank you guys for tuning in to another weekly episode of the podcast Black and Blue. I'm your host. I am Ecclesiastics. Let me get that on the screen. Ecclesiastics 302. Yes, I have my own book, and I wrote a couple too, and we'll talk about that a little later through One Way Publishing. I'm the coldest code switching detective, and I'm Clee, C-L-E-E, continuing law enforcement edutainment. This, we're educating and entertaining all at the same time, because this is the podcast is just for you. We go live weekly at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and when we go live with the first responder or law enforcement officer, whether they're rookie season or retiree, and we talk about their trainings, experiences, their publications, and we're not going to fall short today. We got a returning guest. I've been on his podcast twice now. He's now on here twice as well, and we just looked it up. It was about almost pretty much a year ago and like a week. A year ago and 1 week old that he was on the podcast this time last year. And so much has happened since then. He's done a lot. I've done a lot. We've had a lot of fun in the process doing it. All right. This is a live podcast. So make sure, no matter where you're from, put your name and where you're from in the comment section, and we'll respond to you. If you have a question, make sure you put your name and your comments in the comment section, and we'll answer your question as soon as we can. All right. It's about a 5 to 10 second delay from the time that we see it till the time that we post it. All right. We're streaming on 5 different platforms. That's right. 5, 2 on YouTube, 2 on Facebook, and 1 on LinkedIn. And this is also going to be uploaded on Spotify. And like I said, this platform is sponsored by One Way Publishing. One Way Publishing sponsors the Sergeant Be Safe cartoon that you got to see at the beginning of this podcast. And also it's a book publishing company. You see the books behind me. I got to write 5 of them. I'm working on 6, 7, and 8 right now as we speak. And their clients always got to make their dreams come true as well. Their motto is they can turn a mere thought into a book that's bought. So if you ever had a dream to writing your own book, One Way Publishing is how you want to do that. Workwithclee.com is the website scrolling below. If you want to be a voiceover for Sergeant Be Safe, if you want to come actually be featured on the show, or if you want to go ahead and write your own book, whether it's fiction, nonfiction, cookbook, history, whatever it may be, they can turn that mere thought into a book that's bought. I'm trying to talk very quickly because I want to get our special guest in here as soon as possible and get him on the screen so we can absorb as much of the knowledge and as much as of the things that he's got going on. All right, so I'm going to skip right to the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you guys got to know who he is. He's been on here before, and he's doing tremendous things in the law enforcement community. He's a retired K-9 officer. He's also the host of the 10 Code Mindset podcast, which is doing very well. He goes live and uploads videos often. He's also been on the Jason Harney's documentary, Is There Something Going On at Home? Yes, he's already hit the big screen, ladies and gentlemen. He's also a trainer for law enforcement. He's authored how many books? I want to say 5 books, but I could stand corrected, maybe 6 books. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm gonna bring this video to give you a kind of inkling, a reminder of who he is, and we're gonna jump right into this interview. So stand by.
I worked in law enforcement for several years, and if you're thinking to yourself, should I become a police officer or not? It's ultimately up for you to decide. However, in this video, I have police officers located in various areas of the country, and they're gonna give you solid advice as to what to consider. And yeah, at the end of the video, some of you are going to think, maybe it's not for me after all. I hope this video helps you come up with a calculated decision. Let's get right into it.
Here's some things to consider before you jump right into this profession. The first thing is consider the family that you're bringing into the career with you.
On what kind of person you are, what your character is, what motivates you, and what kind of heart you have. To people thinking about law enforcement, you got to know yourself.
Everybody doing today. This is Clee Tillman, the host of Black and Blue. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Scott, for reaching out and asking me to do this question. Reasons why you should become a cop in 2024.
I suggest anyone that's considering law enforcement to go ahead and give it a try. Even in 2024, it's still a noble profession.
Looked up that backs the reason on why you want to be a police officer to begin with. It's a true calling. So, I mean, if it's something where you're like, well, I don't know if I like to wear all that gear, or boy, that's 12 hours a day. Boy, man, that's a lot. If it's knocking down your cons faster than it is your pros, I would probably look at something else.
Before you get into it, develop who you are as a person, because one day, whether it's 25, 30, 35 years, you're going to have to retire. And once you retire, the person that you came in as, that's who you should try to maintain.
In the hard days, being able to come back to your purpose
why are you doing this is what's going to help you get through those days. And there's awesome days too, right? There's days where you get to go do really cool things.
Learn how to talk to people. That's something that I see missing in law enforcement right now. Verbal de-escalation will take you a long way in this job. Common sense as well. And also remember the golden rule. Be that officer that you would want your family members to interact with.
And if you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to his podcast on YouTube. It is the 10 Code Mindset. We got the banner right there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm going to bring him to the stage now. We got Scott Medlin, and it's going to be a return because we're answering of what it takes, because he had me on the show and he's talking about what it takes. So we're going to answer all that. But Scott, thank you for joining the platform. How are you doing tonight?
I am thrilled to be back on your podcast, Clee. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for coming on the podcast itself. I appreciate it. It's always a pleasure having you. Like I told you backstage, I consider you a superstar. You're doing amazing things. I don't know how you have time to do everything and fit it all in, but you're continuing to do amazing things. And since we last spoke, I know that how many books do you have? I know that you said that you have how many published books are out there now?
5 books. They're all self-published on Amazon. Yep, 5 books.
Gotcha. And Ernie Stevens on here. Hello, Coach. Hello, Scott. Thank you for tuning in, Ernie.
We got a legend watching us.
Yeah, another documentary superstar. But let's jump right into it. I know I wasted enough time blabbering, so therefore, I kind of wanted to. When I was on your podcast, there was a lot of positive comments on, and some not condescending, but kind of left open for interpretation. And one of those questions are, we have law enforcement officers that are baby boomers still working. We still have Gen Xers that are working. We have millennials that are working, and we have Gen Z that are coming into the workforce as well. So you got a bunch of different mindsets, a bunch of different generations, all working for the common good, but they're brought up differently. They have different values, different morals, and different guidelines. What are some of the common challenges that you see with law enforcement and working with peers today?
Man, I think no matter what generation you are, people being people, I wish I'd have known this when I got into it, just how much our brains instinctively, based on default wiring, seek out the negative. So it's really easy to focus on the negative. It is easier to romanticize about negative and just make some things bigger than what they are. And unfortunately, we talk within the 4 walls of all things negative, in addition to being exposed to negativity out there when you're dealing with the public. And it can fester a lot of negativity within. So we got to be careful about that. Now, I was very fortunate to work on a patrol team for the several years I was on patrol. I was on a very good patrol team. And so and I confided a lot in them. So you just got to find the right people, find the right crowd, and stick with them and not get sucked into the negativity, to which I can attest I'm guilty of. In my very first year, I really let it happen. But that's definitely one of the challenges that comes to mind first when it comes to working with others.
Gotcha. Thank you for sharing that. And I can attest to negativity as well. Got Todd Aird on here. Thank you. Good evening, gentlemen. I've been looking forward to watching this episode. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate that as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So then I know you're on your podcast, you get a lot of questions, you get a lot of comments. And you help out the newer officers coming on, what to expect, how to prepare your mind, how to prepare for shifts and things like that. What are some of the common questions that you think are put out there with the newer or the younger generations that are coming in? And how do what would you say to impact them, how can I word this in a way? The common questions that they have, and what kind of solutions that you give them and advice. I guess.
Yeah, good question. My channel, the 10 Code Mindset, it's gotten over 1.5 million views. I think we're going on 1.7 million views now, but a lot of the views are from people who are interested in getting into the profession, or those who are newer to it. But the question I'm getting a lot, or I'm seeing a lot, particularly those interested in getting into it, to which, real talk here, they see on YouTube a lot of negative interactions that police, it is what it is. They see a lot of negativity where law enforcement officers are having a bad day, but it's just the wrong time to be having a bad day, particularly if it's like these auditors or whoever. So I've had them say, am I joining the right team? I'm like, yes, if you stay true to why you want to get into it to serve others, you are absolutely joining. You don't have to be like someone else who's letting their emotions rule them all the time and not abiding by the law and policies that they swore to uphold and all this kind of stuff. So I get real with them on that, but at the same time, I tell them you've got to show up for yourself so that you can show up that much better for others. And that's why I bring on people like you and others who are obviously part of that video. Should I be a cop in 2024? Which, by the way, I think we're getting close to 30,000 views on that video. It's incredible.
You're putting out good content.
Oh, well, thanks. I appreciate that. But
absolutely.
Yeah, I just tell them, like, look, you have to take care of you, because even though I did okay overall throughout, there were some very rough patches where I just said a very damaging phrase, and it's only 3 words. I am fine. And I wasn't fine. I mean, there were times when I was growing apart in my marriage, but I thought everything was fine. I'm going to be okay. She can't relate to what I'm dealing with as a cop, so everything will work out. Don't worry about it. Next thing you know, we're facing really big challenges. So I tell them, yes, it's still a noble profession. Don't get sucked into the negativity. Take care of you and never stop learning. That's why there's so many videos I continue to make to this day, because you're never going to know it all. So you got to keep learning, and that can set them up for a better career, other than, just getting in and getting on survival mode. And then I caution anyone who it is what it is, who just relies on the annual in-service training to be sufficient.
Oh yeah.
Right.
It's funny that you say that, because I remember being a newer officer, rookie officer, boot, whatever word you want to fill in the blank, and I just wanted the job. I wanted the job. I wanted the adventure. I wanted everything that came with it. That the first 3 to 5 years that you have that feel, not knowing that there's growth along with it. And I didn't come into this occupation with that mindset. I came into it. I grew up watching cops jump out of helicopters with a rope tied around their waist, jumping through the bank window and banging up the bad guys and winning. And then growing through that, the action and adventure and all the adrenaline, understand that there's paperwork involved, understand that there's a lot of red tape that's involved as well. And what I say in all that to say that when you go through the yearly updates, the annuals, and you have to go through that, if that's the bare minimum, then you're definitely going to get left behind. How important, and you've already touched on it, is outside education, whether it is some sort of college degree or some sort of trade or something, learning about firearms, something about law enforcement to kind of propel you to the next level.
In my opinion, and this is what I try to convey to those getting into it, you should never look at it as an option. You have to have the mentality that this is what I must do. It's not something you should do. Like when I realized that the department I worked at for several years was not training us in defensive tactics,
right?
Quite honestly, it made me very nervous to go out there. If I didn't train, I mean, I mostly trained jujitsu. If I didn't train, I would have had no idea what to do if the equipment on the duty belt didn't work. And that in and of itself, I was like, this is not an option. I'm going to have to train. So I did, and I'm glad I did. But that's what I try to tell them. Like, you have to have the mentality to keep growing as a person, keep growing as an officer. You're never going to know it all, and don't stop learning. Like, it's a must.
Yeah. And I see that you put out videos, your workouts as well. I'm like, man, this guy, he's still getting it. Look at him. I forget which one I saw. I remember which one I saw. I forget when it was when you posted it. I was like, yeah, he's doing planks out here and talking. Man, I'm doing planks and I got one knee down.
At least you're doing planks. Yeah. When me personally, 2 things when I was at all-time lows in life. My faith and my fitness were the 2 things that got me through it. Honestly, when that kept me going and helped me not give up. Seriously, and I even tell people, not only will fitness help in the performance of your job as a law enforcement officer, but it really helps with what's between the ears as well. So keep in shape and keep working out, because when you move your body, you're really helping your mental health as well.
You're clearing out the pipes more ways than one. I know that getting those endorphins going does give you a feeling of elation.
Absolutely. 100%. See, you can even say you don't have time to work out. You can simply just change the way you're carrying yourself. Roll your shoulders back, because when we get tense, we tend to roll our shoulders in or we put our head down. You can just change the way you hold yourself during the day and your posture and stuff like that. And like I forget where I read about it, but they're called power poses. You can put your hands on your hips, puff your chest out, and when you hold that pose for a few minutes, it will literally drop stress chemicals in your body. It'll decrease the stress hormones in your body.
Okay.
So
all right.
I mean, like seriously, move your body, do something, and it helps you get in a better mood, in addition to fitness, which can help you feel better, look better, and perform well in law enforcement.
So he says that, and everyone just watch me straighten up my back and roll my shoulders back, getting my posture straight, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, well, that's what they had me do when I was going through a bout with a post-traumatic stress disorder. I mean, I had when I was going through neuro-linguistic programming, he would say, "Hey, sit up." I'm like, what? Okay. But yeah, I mean, it would help affect my mood. So yeah,
it makes sense. Makes perfect sense. Another question that comes out from newer officers or the younger generations are they're worried about in-house backstabbing with departments. They're worried about getting into the job and getting in trouble either with the community or themselves, or not growing. I mean, I know I'm hearing it a lot. I'm pretty sure you are as well, as far as, I want to get in with a good department, but then I don't want to climb the ranks with someone who's going to quote unquote bully me. And then I got to work with them for however long I decide to stay there and deal with their toxic attitude, toxic mentality on them. How do you affect that? How do you answer that kind of question or statement that may come in, even if it's a comment on your podcast itself?
Yeah. First thing that comes to mind is there were a few people that were supervisors that I had to work with. They were my immediate supervisors throughout my almost 15 years in law enforcement. Just a few that come to mind. They were micromanagers, and I got to a point with some in particular where I was thinking, it's almost like they forget we have a gun and the ability to go arrest people. It's like, I'm not a child. So, but what I would do is, a pastor at my church told me, don't put any expectations on people. Like, I'm not saying that we shouldn't have expectations in like responsibilities, but that particularly when it comes to people in your family who maybe are a little bit dramatic than others. And then you get those micromanagers or those people that are just bad to be around.
Yeah.
Why expect anything different? So that was good advice that he gave me. So I acted on that, but also I knew who the leaders in the department were. And it's not like I went behind the supervisor's back, but if I just needed to talk, or if I just needed to ask them, hey, what kind of training should I get? I would go to the leaders, and that really helped as well. So, and that's what I try to tell the new people when they're watching my videos, like find the right crowd. And it's really obviously important to find the right crowd outside of the job too, because
that is correct.
Yeah. That helps keep you sane.
Yeah, it does. Got Dr. Travis Yates on here talking about Scott is one of the best. Absolutely. Shout out to you. That is the voice of Major Pain as well. Thank you, sir, for tuning in. And got a couple comments coming in. Yep, Ernie Stevens Scott was the victim of one of your previous guests, Billy Dree. He made you do the cold plunge in the snow in Maine. What was that like?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, see, I go up there to speak at a conference, and Billy says, hey, we're going out in the Atlantic Ocean. It's 37 degrees. And I mean, talk about toxic environment. No, I'm kidding. Hey,
Yeah, he had me take a cold shower the next morning after I interviewed him. Man, I'm telling you that. Yeah, after doing it for a while, I think I lasted 10 seconds, maybe 20 the first time, and then I got up there and I actually started sleeping better if I took a shower and the cold shower right before I went to bed. It was actually it was a good feeling.
Yeah. Well, after we were out of the ocean, he said, "How long you want to go?" I said, "It's 37 degrees. Let's go for 2 minutes." So, I mean, that water was so cold. I was the lizard brain was like, turn back, don't do it. And I was like, no, I got to push through this thing, which is obviously a lesson in the fact that you don't have to listen to that first thought that comes to your mind. I mean, there's a healthy level of fear, but a lot of times we can get in our own way, and you just got to push through that. So I was like, no, I do not have to listen to you. And I got in that ocean with Billy and a few others, Chief Moya and a few others, and we were cold. But man, when I came out, I felt great. I mean, seriously, it was the strangest thing. I felt great, and that was obviously an experience I'll never forget. That was an awesome time.
Yeah. A feeling of accomplishment, or did you feel great all over, physically or mentally or spiritually or
all the above? Yeah, all of the above.
Nice.
And we went to a restaurant right after it, and I ate a feast. it just got my metabolism going.
Nice, interesting. That backstabbing is nothing new. This is from Todd Errett. It's been around forever. Yeah. Supervisory leadership needs to set the tone. Agency culture and subculture can cure a lot of the backstabbing to get ahead. Absolutely. I believe so too.
Yeah, 100%. See, I learned from some how it is what it is, how not to be.
Yeah, true.
And, yeah. And nobody's perfect. I know there were officers that I worked with who probably didn't like being around me. I know I'm a spastic guy, but I definitely did not want to bring any kind of bad intentions or backstabbing and anything like that. Now, I did make a mistake when I was on a unit one time of going around someone's back because I didn't agree with them, and I was confiding in everybody else, and that was a lesson learned. I should have just been up front and said, hey, I'm not agreeing with what's going on. I know you and I have known each other for a while. We can talk about this. And we did talk about it afterwards, but that was a big learning experience.
Yeah.
But but what I also can't stand is how you have some who are miserable, and what's the phrase? Misery loves company. They're going to try to bring you down, and it's almost like they get mad at you for being happy, particularly when you're at work. And it's like, wait a minute, wait. Why are we looking at the guy who's having a good time as something is wrong with him or her? That shouldn't be the way it is. So. That's another thing. It was like, so not a lot, fortunately, but all it takes is a few to try to bring everyone down. You got to be vigilant about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So in your trainings or comments that are from the 10 code mindset, do you get a lot more since in the past couple of years, negative comments or like, yeah, I hate this job or why am I doing this kind of comments? And I hear it more so now. It seems like it's times 10. And it makes me wonder, like, with all the bonuses that are being given out, with all the openings that are given out, even if you didn't want to do anything in law enforcement, why do you stick around in such misery? It makes me wonder.
Yeah, I do get comments from time to time. I had one comment a few years ago on the channel where the officer, I was assuming current officer, not retired, but current, I'm assuming, said, do not do it. It will ruin your life. I was like, wow. I mean, if you choose to let it, yes. And I know that sounds very blunt, but I mean, it is what it is. We have options. We really do. And there's a saying, happiness is a choice, but so is suffering. And I just hated to see that. My heart broke for that person. And I do get a lot of comments. I had one the other day. It was, one of them, a comment was something like, I've been doing this for 10 years. I can't take any more of it, which, you know what? That's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. I mean, if you've done everything you can and you've had a great time and it's just starting to wear on you and you've done the whole mindset shift and trying a new unit or try something else or work on, heck, even professional counseling or something like that. And it's still not working. There is nothing wrong with getting out. There is nothing wrong with that at all.
I agree with that as well. And the caveat, or to add on and piggyback to that, I would say not a lot of guys, in my opinion, that from what I see, get those mentors or peers early on to kind of have somebody, the coach them through the hierarchy of someone that you can relate to, that you can trust, and like, hey, I got this situation, can you guide me through this? Hey, this is going on at home, can you help? What do you think I should do? Oh, I can connect you with this person, they went through something similar. I don't see that connection at more as much as we used to when I think we were coming on.
Yeah, good point. I do remember there were some people that, let me back up a little bit. When I go out and speak the 10 code mindset course, I get to the section about being around the right people. And one of the first statements I say is, look, don't throw anything at me, but the department's not your family. And then I'm like, whoa, hang on. I believe you can find family within the department. And there are still a handful of people that I can call to this day that I worked with, and it would be like no time in between. And like I said, you can find family within.
Yeah.
And those are the people that will help you a lot. But I did go to a retirement party a few years ago, and an officer who had just retired, who was there attending the other officer's retirement party, he said, well, man, when I just retired, none of the patrol team even did anything. It just like nobody said goodbye, nobody's nothing. I was like, oh man, that's not good.
Yeah.
Like, camaraderie and teamwork has got to be within the culture, even if it's just on one patrol team. Like a supervisor has the power to say, if they're in charge of 6 officers, well, make it happen within those 6. Forget what the other departments do. You can't. Your span of control, that kind of thing. But yeah, people need people, and we need the right people.
So, how important do you think it is to actually have friends or family, I guess you would say, outside of law enforcement or being a first responder as well, to kind of keep you grounded with the community, to keep you quote unquote sane, so you're not always in fight or flight mode or work mode, or did I finish this? I got to do this report, or I forgot to call this person back, anything like that, to actually like, hey, did you enjoy the game? Hey, are we playing Madden today? Let's go fishing. Let's get our dogs together and hang out, or whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
How important do you think it is to get away from work itself?
Oh man, it's huge. It's for everything you just said about you got someone to hang out with, and you got someone you can confide in. But think about it like this, and this is what I've had to learn over the last 2 years since I've been out of the game entirely. I mean, 2.5 years now, due to the fact that a lot of the people you used to work with won't be in your life anymore.
Right. Yeah.
The people that are outside of the profession, they're the ones who have known what it's like to not work in law enforcement. So it's like there's life outside of law enforcement.
Yeah.
And they could also help you in the private sector or the corporate sector or other work in government work, something like that they'll be the ones who can be your reference or get you connected with somebody who is outside of law enforcement work, that kind of thing. I'm not saying hold on to these people because they might be able to get you a job in the future. No, but it's just one other thing that could happen and can help you.
I agree. I got friends now that make fun of me till this day. I've been, of course, in the Army, been on some kind of patrol or supervisor patrol or filling in on call offs, or still running the street for up until March of this year. So I've been in a car. I've been able to interact with the community. I've been able to, if I, during downtime, I can go park over here, be by myself, get caught up on paperwork here. Now, being a detective, I'm in an office setting for the first time in my life. And so many things on the computer I did not know how to do or access or how to save this and print this out or add it as an attachment multiple times. I mean, I knew how to do basic things, but I'm being funny as well. There's a lot of things I did not know how to do, and reaching out to my corporate buddies who do this for a living. Yeah, they laughed at me. Yeah, they made fun of me, but they were able to help me and guide me through that as well. And it was nice because I was like, wow, I'm really sitting behind a desk and in a suit and tie, and I really don't know how to do X, Y, and Z, and they're getting me through it.
Yeah, heck yeah, no, that's pretty good though. Awesome.
It's pretty sad too.
Nah, man, we all have things we're learning and working on. Don't let anyone tell you any different.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good. I'm gonna kind of shift gears again a little bit with this question here. With the cameras and body worn cameras, a lot of guys out there, a lot of the newer guys out there are seeing that they may or may not want to get in law enforcement because they're scared of what could happen to them physically, or what they may do to someone they're trying to apprehend physically, or the legal ramifications that can go along with that. And I know everyone, cops are scared of change, or don't like change, I should say. I think that's a better word for it. Where you get used to how things are, and then there we go, we got to change it up again. I remember when body worn cameras were coming in and everybody was moaning and complaining. And you see all these uploads on YouTube and everywhere else on all these activities. But in my opinion, it's actually been saving us more than damning us, because you actually see how, we're showing up. Most times we don't know what the call is. We know a little bit about the call, but if it goes left or right, it's developing right in front of us, and you're like, oh, you're putting the pieces together. Talking long-winded, I understand, but the importance on having body cameras, do you think that's scaring more of the new recruits away, or do you think that once it's fully embraced, that'll be something that they're used to and they'll embrace it as well?
Yeah, if I get comments like that under the videos about this hesitation thing, and I re-emphasize to them, I believe the body camera is a great thing. Like when we rolled it out at our department, or the department where I worked for several years, it was August or so of 2016, I believe. It was definitely 2016. And I was just like, heck yeah, finally. I love this. Because when I never had a formal complaint my whole career, but I was on calls where, say, other officers got formal complaints on them. and I was able to say, well, now I've got a camera. So it was a great thing. And I remember one time I was sitting in the report room. Just a quick story right quick. I was sitting in the report room, working on a report, and a supervisor who happened to be my training officer years prior to that, he walks in. He's like, oh, we got a complaint from this lady in the front lobby. She's saying this one officer searched her vehicle and she didn't give consent. So he brings up the body camera, and the officer says, ma'am, may I search your car? And she says, yeah, go ahead. So he searches. He's like, did you see that, Scott? I was like, sounded like consent to me. Just like you said, they're saving us. But what I tell the people is body cameras are not a bad thing. Don't fight those things. Those are great. Like, have them on all the time. Don't forget to turn it off, because you could go to the bathroom like I did one time and forget it's on and send that. I had to send an email to my sergeant. Like, you need to put this on restricted mode. But have that, when in doubt, press that button, have it rolling, and train. Like my supervisor, one of the supervisors that I worked for a few years, he was great because he knew the policy manual was so long that, when I first started, it was on a binder, but then it got so big you couldn't keep it in paper. You had to put it on an internal, like a drive on the computer, because it got that long. He knew it. He knew that. So we would regularly go over policy during roll call as a refresher. And then I would be seeking out my own training, like domestic calls and all this kind of stuff, to continue my knowledge of law enforcement when it comes to the technical things. That's what I tell them. Just keep training, because the better trained you are in all aspects as best you can be, you are less likely to be a liability out there. And guess what? Even if you do the right thing, there's still going to be people that go out there and try to just twist the facts and make it look bad and all this kind of stuff just to get aroused and get their moment of viral fame. It is what it is. And
it is. Yeah.
I also, and I said it in a recent video I made about a deputy who, now the stop happened a few years ago, but I just came across it now and I felt compelled to make a video about it. Can't take things personal. Just can't take things personal. Yes, we're all human. I remember one day I showed up at a verbal dispute, and I was walking down the street. The house on the right was where the call was to, but a regular that we had to deal with lived across the street on the left. He comes out on his front porch. He said, "What are y'all doing here?" I said, "Man, why do you always have to run your mouth?" And he just, I was like, man, I shouldn't have said that. So, I mean, you're going to have your mistakes, but I tell them, train and run that body camera. Chances are you'll be okay.
Yep. And Ernie C, agreed, coach. Let the camera do the work for you, not against you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Billy Drees, he's on here. What's up, Billy? Thanks for joining in. He said, definitely welcome to change. And he has a previous comment up here. That struggle was real when you guys were in the Atlantic Ocean. I'm assuming that's what he's talking about.
Good times.
Yeah. So today, I don't know if I should say this or not. I'm probably gonna get it's nothing serious, but I left one of the not hotel apartment complex, and one of the renters was outside as I was walking back to my car leaving, and he's like, "Yeah, there you go, bothering people again." I'm like, "Actually, you have no idea why I'm here. I'm actually trying to save these people, and you don't know what's going on. You don't know the situation." He's like, "Yeah, you're not trying to save anything." I'm like, "Yeah, all right. Well, then when I set up outside here, and I'll make sure I'll see what kind of activities going on here, and I won't save you."
Right. It put him on the no dispatch list.
Yeah.
No, not really. We joke. For anyone watching, we joke.
I know.
We'll
Get that
will still
disclaimer
go.
out there. Yeah, absolutely. Before I get a whole bunch of hate mail. But Billy Drees, hey, fellas. So therefore, and I know I don't want to monopolize your time, and I know I want to get you a chance to get on here and talk about the things that you've been updated with in this. It's been about a year since you were on here before, like I said before, and a lot of things. You're still busy. You're still pushing the needle forward. You're still doing great things. Tell us, get us caught up with you from the last time that you were on here, and bring us up to speed to what you got going on right now.
Well, let's see. I was on October 23. So just after that, I was part of the award-winning documentary, Is There Something Going On at Home, in which it focuses on the police family. And I was very grateful to be a part of that project. Jason Harney compiled or just created a masterpiece. I mean, he is one heck of a documentary creator. And I know I'm getting the terminology messed up, Jason. So if you come across this, I'm sorry. I'm getting all the film terminology messed up. But anyway, a very powerful documentary. I was really amazed to see just how impactful it was and continues to be for those who watch it. I remember within the first week, I heard from somebody who had watched it, and this person was a retired officer and looked over at the spouse and said, "Well, it's time to get some professional assistance." Like,
wow.
It was that moving. Like,
wow.
Realized something wasn't right, but that's okay. We're all human, but also wanted to make it right, which is powerful. And then also around November of 23, I came out with my most recent book, The Power in Showing Up, where I basically I kind of wrote about the stories that I speak on and then what I've had to learn throughout the journey, many times the hard way. But at the same time, it was a book on personal development, because I believe when you're in a career that can absolutely just engulf you in negativity, if you don't work on personal development techniques such as habits, mindset, continuously shifting your perspective to look at things from a stronger point of view rather than a survival or a negative point of view, it can lead to some very bad things. So I wrote about that in The Power in Showing Up. And then in January of 2020 or of this year, my daughter was born. And
congratulations.
Thank you. So she's almost 9 months old, man. Let me tell you, I've got two boys, but oh my gosh, having a daughter now, I'm just different. I swear. I don't know what it is, but she's got my heart. So there's been some big changes, and I'm very grateful that I continue to travel literally coast to coast across the country and meet first responders, a lot of law enforcement officers, and speak on the 10 code mindset of how to acknowledge you're human, raise your self-awareness, and then just take massive action, but only one step at a time. But just starting to see things in a different light and having a plan forward so that your past is not holding you back. You're not just going through life in survival, barely doing what you got to do to hopefully get to retirement one day. No, you take on this thriving mentality where you're like, you know what? If I can grow as a person, that's thriving. That's progress. And when you're growing as a person, you have more you can impact others with. And that's a great thing.
Yeah, you
Yep.
give permission for others to grow around you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's what I'm saying. So that's been the last year.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for bringing us up to speed. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going on with you for years to come. Now that you got the soft spot of your heart has opened up with your little girl now, so we may get some a different version of you from time to time. Because as Billy Dries says, daughters are amazing.
And they have this scream though that my sons don't have. She screams just like I'm like, oh, but you know.
Yeah, I can't really. I got 2 boys myself, so I got the football players, the wrestlers, basketball. I got the sports side of things, which I enjoyed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Cool. And Ernie Stevens, he posted the link to Is There Something Going On at Home on the LinkedIn page. So if you're on my LinkedIn page, the link will be there. I wish I could cut and paste from this platform right now. That way it'd be on all platforms, but I'll put the link on all the platforms as well. I just actually suggested this to one of our newer officers when I attended a roll call last week. And I didn't know he likes documentaries. So when he said that, yeah, I need another documentary to binge while I'm on days off. Anyone suggest anything? I was like, I got the perfect guy for you. I sent him all Jason Harney's documentaries, and I said, when you get done with them all, let me know what you think. He's like, dude, I think he got through 1 or 2 of them. I don't remember which ones off the top of my head. He's like, these are great. I'm like, yeah, man, I appreciate that. I'm glad to open it up. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, is there something going on at home? It's only 45 minutes, but man, it is a very impacting 45 minutes, and it is on Amazon for a very affordable price. I'm talking, I don't even think it's $5.
Yeah.
And then it's on Tubi as well, and that's free. So you don't have to pay anything for that. We wanted to, and I don't make a dime from it. I don't really care. I just wanted to make an impact with it. So it's very easy to get a hold of that documentary.
Right. Yeah. And thank you for putting yourself out there to do that too. Because I know that's not easy to do.
No, not at all.
Doing a podcast is like a full-time job in itself. I'm telling you from experience, for the thought process to setting it up, to making the scheduling for thumbnails, banners, engagement, uploading. I know you do you pre-record, so there's edits involved, and then a perfect time slots to post and engaging in comments. It is a big deal, and to actually put yourself out there enough to do a podcast is one thing. To put yourself out there enough to do a documentary, that's a whole different level. And when I say that you're a superstar in my eyes, I mean that, because I don't think that's very easy to do. I don't think I haven't actualized myself to actually be in a documentary, to put myself out there like that. So I commend you. Big time.
I appreciate that. Really do.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I want you guys to stand by real quick. Sergeant Be Safe is going to come through with a commercial, and we're going to finish up with the rest of this interview. So get your questions ready, get your comments ready, and we'll be right back. But right now, it's on Sergeant Be Safe. Stand by.
Where we left off. Maya arrived at school. She was happy as can be. And then she found out something bad happened. Her phone was hacked. There were videos of her. Maya was embarrassed. Kids at school were making fun of her, forcing her to leave. It was discovered that Chance Wilder was behind this. The police tried to arrest him, but he got away. Which brings us to our next episode.
I'm set up, ready to breach the door. Get ready. 3, 2.
And we now start part 2. I'm out of here. These cops can't catch me. That was a close one. Treacherous Tony, I see you over there. Come pick me up. Get us out of here. Get in. Go, go, go. I don't know how they found me.
Oh no. SWAT Officer Claymore. Looks like Chance Wilder is on the move again.
He just told Claymore that they got away in that direction.
Meanwhile, outside of the school.
Why does everything always go wrong for me?
Wrong for you? I don't think you're on the run from Sergeant Be Safe.
Little girl, why don't you come with us? Chance Wilder, we can easily hide in the company of the juvenile.
Maya's missing. We need to find her before it's too late. Sergeant Be Safe, Captain Chaos, you know what to do.
Oh no, this isn't good. Do any of you kids know what happened to Maya?
Sergeant, be safe. We might have accidentally upset her and sent her off crying.
Well, let's work together to ensure Maya's safety. One bad event can lead down the rabbit hole of terrible outcomes, okay?
Remember, being nice to others is important. It can prevent a lot of trouble, and it keeps everyone safe.
Kraken and I will get started on finding a scent right away. Come on, boy.
We won't rest until we find Maya and bring her back safely.
Meanwhile, back at the Internal Affairs office.
Please come in, Claymore, and have a seat. I have a couple of questions for you about breaching the door, your perimeter, and how Chance Wilder got away.
Oh, that's great. Well, I promise I did the best I could.
Should SWAT officer Claymore get in trouble, or did he do the right thing?
Sergeant Be Safe, the track stops here, unfortunately. Kraken is picking up other scents that are similar to Chance Wilder and Treacherous Tony.
Oh no.
You don't think they took her, do you?
We won't let Chance Wilder and Treacherous Tony get away with this. We must bring them to justice.
The bad guys got away. Maya is still missing, and Officer Claymore is in trouble.
Oh
Stay
my
tuned
God.
for part 3 as the saga continues.
And that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
Yeah, we are back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We got Scott Medlin here. Scott, we had a great interview. I enjoyed talking with you all the time. And through the course of conversation, I may have forgot to ask you a question, or I may have jogged your memory on something that you would like to share with us right now. Is there anything that you would like to share, or on Humanizing the Badge, or anything with your podcast, or how to get in contact with you on anything? Right now, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, thank you again for having me on your podcast, Coach.
Absolutely.
And, my website is thescottmedlin.com, and you can also find me on the YouTube channel, The 10 Code Mindset. There's a lot of videos on there, and it features Coach Clee in 2 of the videos. My thing is this. I mentioned a phrase earlier that I repeated a lot throughout my career, particularly when I was going through a hard time, and I just didn't want to admit it. I would say, I am fine. Mm-hmm. And that can be said a lot, but also within the profession of law enforcement, what are some of the rules of thumb when it comes to career survival? Have friends outside of the profession, have hobbies outside of the profession. Don't listen to the radio on your days off. Don't work as much off duty as you can because you need that time off, that kind of stuff. But if those things were working so well, how come we're still seeing such high statistics when it comes to mental health challenges, mental health illnesses, and unfortunately the suicide rate in law enforcement? So we got to do something different. And that's what I go around and plead with officers to do, is to take massive action for themselves. You've got to be around the right people, but you also have to be good to yourself at the same time. The way we speak, our self-talk is huge. If you say things like, I'll be happy when, you're relying on external factors to make you happy. And I can tell you from experience, I remember saying I'll be happier when I get a new patrol car. And that thing, when I finally got one, it had 28 miles on it. I was thrilled. But once the newness of it wore off, then I was complaining that we didn't make enough money. And I'll be happy when they raise my pay. Mm-hmm. We need to strengthen who we are as people, because you can't rely on external factors. But there's also languages, something like, I don't have time. A lot of time we will have the time if it's priority enough for us. And then also phrases such as, I am not. Like, I could have said, I am not a YouTuber, I am not an author, and I could have taught myself right out of it. But when you seek a good, strong reason of putting value towards other people and serving others, you can find the time and you can get past that statement of I am not. You can start to say, I am this and I am that. But at the same time, I don't want you to find identity in what you're doing in the sense of your job being who you are. Because I
Right.
used to say a lot when people would meet me when I worked as a canine officer, I am a canine officer. And then whenever I had to resign from the canine unit for the sake of essentially saving my marriage, I was lost and it was hard. I mean, it felt like my heart was ripped right out. I didn't know who I was because I am a canine officer, right? No, it is what I did. It was never who I was.
Right.
Now I get it. Law enforcement is a calling. Law enforcement is a passion, but eventually the job will move on and you'll have to be out of it. And the thing is, who you are is much more important, and you can bring value to others and continue to serve in other ways. It won't be easy, trust me. But then again, anytime we've confided in something easy, has it really helped us? I mean, it's easy to go home and pop open a bottle of alcohol, and all of a sudden that's becoming our way of, quote, coping, because that's easy. But that can lead to a lot of long-term pain. And, I come to you as to anyone listening, I come to you as a friend, and that's just having hard conversations that friends would have with it. Our friends hold us accountable, right? Really true friends.
Right.
So the main thing that I want to suggest is keep showing up for you. Do the hard things like exercising, heck, journaling, meditation, stuff like that. It's not easy to do, but it will work on what's between the ears for you in a career that can really put you at risk to drain you mentally and lead to mental health illnesses, to which we see the statistics. So keep showing up, do the hard things. It's worth it. And keep providing value. Totally worth the effort. And thanks again for having me on the podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. That was a nice summation and a way to wrap up. And Billy, I don't want to ignore you because you have a question here as well. And I just want to hold you for a couple more seconds here, Scott. And Billy's question is thoughts on sabbaticals.
Oh, man. I would point towards what I've learned from Dr. Kevin Gilmartin. I think he has spoken in Australia, and they give their officers a period of months off to help reset. Right. If I'm understanding correctly, your question, Billy. That's good, because right now we got a lot of officers working a lot of mandatory overtime, and you can't give what you don't have. I mean, eventually that tank runs out if we're doing all these hours, to which I get it. We're a lot of PDs are so short staffed. I went to speak at a conference a few months ago in an area of the country where there's a lot of staffing issues, and over half of the expected attendees couldn't even attend the conference because they had to work the road because they were so short staffed. And this was a conference about mental health, and that's one of the most dangerous, damaging risks right now in law enforcement. It was like, this was very important stuff, but they couldn't leave. And we're working too hard. But that's all the more reason, if you still have to work very long hours, then do what you can to take care of yourself. And a lot of times that means getting out on the side of the road or in a vacant parking lot where people can't see you, and do those push-ups since you didn't have time to work out at the gym or something like that. During downtime, when you just finish a report, rather than checking social media and getting mad because you're seeing everyone else trying to live, depicting that they're living their dream life, and or someone is out on vacation and you're stuck on a shift at 3 a.m, read a bunch of inspirational quotes. That's not going to be as fun for your brain to do as surfing social media, but it'll definitely help you a lot more in the long run. That kind of stuff. So I went off on a tangent there, but sabbaticals, I'm for them.
Yeah. And you just reminded me again. I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep badgering on. Me and a guy who I used to work with on night shift, we would meet up at one of our local plazas, and we would actually get out the car and we would actually run laps around the parking stalls, and we would have tag team matches. It'd be 3 o'clock in the morning, and that we'd get our workout in and have fun doing it, and have a workout partner because we were working 12, so therefore we couldn't get it in. So we got it in at work itself in a fun way. And if a call came in, we weren't that far from our car, you could easily jump back in and go.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you show up to the call and you're like, how can I?
Yeah.
But you were awake.
Yep, absolutely. Hey, Scott, I know you got to go. I appreciate you coming on the show. Thanks again. I'll be in contact with you soon. If you need to go ahead and sign off, that's fine. I'm going to finish up the last couple minutes of the show, and I will make sure that any copies of this I'll send to you, and you can go ahead and use them as you please.
All right, good deal. Thank you again, Coach, and I appreciate everyone watching. So have a good one.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. Talk to you later. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you guys for tuning in. You know, this is Coach Clee. I'm your motivational speaker, your empowerment coach, Ecclesiastics 302, the coldest code switching detective, continuing law enforcement edutainment. We on here on Black and Blue. This is the podcast that's just for you, where we humanize the bad. We humanize the badge at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time weekly, and we didn't fall short today. We had a great interview today. I had a lot of fun with him. I have a lot of fun watching his 10 code mindset. He puts a lot of great information out there. He also has books, whatever your pleasure, whatever your generation is, there's something in there for you. There's pearls and wisdom, so make sure you don't fall short. The website's scrolling below. Make sure you guys check him out. Check out the documentary. He's doing a bunch of great things. All right. We go live again sometime in November. Next week, we don't have anything set up. I'm trying to get some things rolling. So make sure you guys tune in when you're able to and when you do. We got a bunch of good things coming down the pipeline. Some more Starting to Be Safe. Got part 3 coming out relatively soon. We're still scrolling on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. So we'll get that uploaded on the Spotify as well. Make sure you guys tag, like, share. I think I got all the announcements out of the way. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate all of you, and we will see you soon. Talk to you later. Have a good evening.
What is this? I never seen a real gun before.
Maya, stop right there. Guns are not toys. You need to be very careful. Let me help you. Whenever you see a gun, don't touch it. Always alert a responsible adult immediately. Now let's find out where this gun came from.
I'll take that gun for evidence. We need to figure out who it belongs to and how it ended up here.
However, let's use this opportunity to cover 6 points about firearm safety.
Number 1, lock it up. Always store your gun in a secure and locked location. Number 2, know your target. Be aware of what you're aiming at and what is beyond it.
Keep your finger off the trigger until ready to shoot. Educate yourself. Take a gun safety course and familiarize yourself with your firearm.
Point number 5, always treat a firearm as if it's loaded. Just because the magazine's not in it doesn't mean there's not a bullet in the chamber. The 6th and final point, never, I mean never point your gun at anything you're not willing to destroy.
The Eagle of Justice.
It's important to remember that improper handling or misuse of a firearm can lead to accidental discharge, potentially resulting in a much larger and more dangerous situation.
Kraken and I can help track down the owner of the gun. Let's get to the bottom of this.
It is illegal to abandon a gun in a public place. We must find the responsible party.
Oh no, Be Safe and that kid found the gun I was trying to hide.
Ooh, you fool! We need to find a way to steal it back before we get in trouble.
There they are. Kraken found Rob You Blind and Treacherous Tony.
Ooh. Oh man, Be Safe.
We did it!
Great job, Maya. You helped prevent a dangerous situation. Remember, gun safety is everyone's responsibility. Well, there you have it. Another successful mission in promoting gun safety. Remember, kids, if you ever find a gun, don't touch it. Tell a responsible adult immediately.
Thank you for teaching me, Sergeant Be Safe.
And that's a wrap to our caper. Rob You Blind and Treacherous Tony, you're back to jail again. Remember, gun safety, kids, and that's your tip of the day to get you on your way.
once said you were. It would be real simple if the problem was bad cops. It ain't.